Hi guys, good evening. It's the 16th of the 5th, 2019, 7:01 p.m. London time. What's up, Krish? Nice to see you. Shit, let me turn this off. What's up, Looney? What's up? Yep, chat is working, chat is fine. We're going to wait for just a few more people to get inside. Then we will continue with the topic today. Really interesting topic today, quote unquote. There's a slight bit of sarcasm in that comment, because most people don't find it interesting, but you'll most probably find it interesting once I've finished getting onto it, right? Let me just hit up the Telegram and post in there that the live stream is commencing. Okay, live stream started. Set up Twitter. Okay, we are live. Right. Hey, what's up, Tom? What's up, Go Man? Yeah, so if the spreadsheet gives errors, I'll show you what to do, right? Because it's most probably that you've been messing with it. But anyway, let's get on. We've got 17 people. That's enough. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that's very, very strikes at the heart of trading right now. Okay, and that's the importance of trade logging. I've been through this so many times with so many people, but I didn't used to like doing this, right? I've done it loosely for a very long time. And I've reviewed my trade loosely for a very long time, ever since I started trading, really. But it wasn't until a good few years after that I actually logged stringently, and it's so important as far as efficiency is concerned, right? You can enter into an exchange, buy and sell. You can be rich, you can be poor, you can do whatever you want, right? I've got a few questions for you. All right, I've got a few questions. You're most probably in this business to make money, right? Correct? Right, you're here to make money, is that correct? Right. So then what is this to you, right? Is it a casino? Is it a business? And is it something you take seriously? You speak to most people and you will say, right, it's something I take seriously because I'm putting my money on the line and I'm putting my time on the line, right? You have two things on the line, time and money. They're both extremely important things. Probably the most valuable currencies in the world are time and money. So you're putting these two things on the line. So I ask you then, are you taking it seriously? And you say yes. But then I ask, right, to most people, are you tracking your A, progress, B, trades, C, losses, D, wins, and E, problems? And they will say, no, I'm not doing that, or, oh, I don't like to do that, right? That will be the answer. But then to that, I revert to the original question, right? You spend your time and you spend your money, two important, valuable currencies. Are you taking it seriously? And to be honest, if you're not doing these things, you are not, right? Maybe because you haven't realized the inherent benefit into it. Maybe because you are lazy, or maybe you're just you just don't know how, right? There's loads of different reasons, and that's not for me to judge. But the main thing is you are not taking your trading seriously if you are not doing these things. It's that simple. There's no middle way. There's no middle ground. There's no I track things in my brain, right? I mean, there are amazing traders that can do that, but I'm talking about the masses right now, right? So then you ask, right, why are you not doing these things, right? That's the next question. Why? Okay, you hear it from most probably loads of traders, right? You see it, you see other traders doing it. Why would you not want to do it? Why would you not want an edge, right? This is what it gives you. Okay, if you've heard other people do it and then you quote unquote know that there's an edge inside doing this, then why would you not want to do it, right? If you know there's an edge but you're not doing it, it means you're not taking this seriously. So really just knuckle down into what your own, not intentions, but behavior is like in trading, right? Because it can get to the truth of a lot of things. So yeah, why would you not want an edge? That's the question. And why would you not want to know about something that can help you make more money, right? there's a discord between people, what they say they want and what they're doing, right? It's the same as people who, for example, are fat, right? They say, I want to be skinny, but in reality they're just not doing it, right? And for many different reasons, but they're just not taking it seriously, right? And I don't care what other people say, they're not. So these things are vital, and it's not until you realize why that it doesn't become boring anymore, which is the joke I made to begin with, right? The only reason why, I'll tell you the reason why you don't do this, okay? Why would you not want these things? It makes sense to do it. The only reason why people don't do it is because of this. They are scared of accountability, right? This is the issue. And you have to explore it if you don't agree, but it's the issue. If you don't trade and don't log and whatever, number one, you might find it boring, but this is the most prominent thing, is you are most probably scared of accountability, right? Bar none. You speak to most people and they say, I don't want to log because my trade sheet will just look crap. Or, you know, if they start to log, they'll have to write down, I've FOMO'd into something, or they'll have to write a position without a stop, or without an exit, or without a target, or without an entry. Do you know what I mean, right? Or it seems too messy for them because their own minds are messy, right? So it's just a reflection of their own misjudgment. So really that's the reason. We're building now from the top down, right? So this is the question, is why don't you want to do it? That's the first stage. Then you ask, right, am I scared of accountability? And scared of accountability doesn't mean you're a pussy, right? It doesn't mean anything like that. What it means is that you maybe are feeling a bit confused and flustered at the whole thing, and you don't want to see that confusion and flustered nature in front of you, right? That's the basis behind it all. So let's get on to a few things of why it's helpful, okay? Right. I'm going to label 9 things here that will be very relevant to you and I think that you will like. It's not new things I've spoken about many times. But it's funny, every time I speak about it, I feel more confident in my own ability to follow this through with intention, because if I say things and don't do them, then I'm a hypocrite, right? So, okay. Number 1, as I said, stops you from gambling. So I mean, it's not a complete black and white situation. There are people that don't log, right? You know, there are many people that don't log and can do it, but for most people, they don't have the mind state to do that. It stops you from gambling, right? If you are not someone who has a strict measurement in place for getting in and getting out, you have to write it down, you have to be accountable, as I said, number 1. So that's obvious, it stops you from gambling. I mean, if you look at this sheet here, is this something you could fill out, right? The amount of slog that you need to go through, quote unquote slog, it's really quite easy to run a trade here, is a lot. And what it does is it makes you only take quality trades, right? Because you don't want to fill out 5, 6, 7 text pieces in a line for a shit trade, right? You don't want to do it. Nor do you want to be looking at something that's cleanly obvious, right? So, first point. And actually that has another point to it, is that you can see exactly what you're doing truthfully, right? So even if you are a gambler and you might not know it, right? You might think that you're good at logging, but once you look at what you're doing, it presents itself more obviously, right? Objectively, whatever that means. Okay, in market volatility, keeps mental boundaries in place. Virus can cause obesity, right? It can, you're right. In market volatility, keeps mental boundaries in place. So, for example, in this latest crazy volatility that we're getting with Bitcoin, right? And when I say crazy, I mean the altcoin market cap. What will happen is, imagine that there's one position, right? Imagine there's 2 positions, 3 positions, 4 positions that you have seen that you like and that you are running, right? And then maybe there's another 3 position you're stalking. Just let's say, for example, there's 3 other positions also that are tempting you. Already you can see, look at the amount of lines I've got here. It just can feel confusing already, right? It can feel confusing. Now, if you're relying on your mind to remember everything, it's less efficient. It's less efficient, right? The mind is not as rigid as a piece of paper is. You have to understand that. Also, when when a market is doing things like dumping or mooning or whatever, when the emotions carry you away, and I don't care who you are, there are emotions present, right, that affect you once you're looking at something. Once they start to carry you away, it's like an insurance, a safe haven. If you go back to your sheet, when you get the feeling of displacement or lack of balance, right? When you feel like, oh, I don't feel balanced right now. If you make a habit of, right, let me go back to my sheet. What does my sheet say? You just do what the sheet says, right? It's like a guide. It's like you plan in the past, right? You plan properly, you plan deeply, so that in the future you can execute and trust your previous self, right? And trust in a previous self is like stabilizing wheel in a volatile market, right? The reason why I can stay calm personally, and even I'm not saying I stay calm all the time, but in times that are really fucking me up when the market is just doing so many crazy things, is because I've planned for specific setups, and if I get too confused, I have a safe haven to run back to, right? Which is my sheet. Okay, so in market volatility, it keeps mental boundaries in place. Very important point. Next, produces clarity in two ways: an exit strategy and loss, right? Produces clarity in two ways: an exit strategy and loss. Cannot be underestimated at all, right? So that's linked to point number 2. But more so, if you can see what you are winning and you can see what you are losing, if you can see where you are exiting and entering, right? You're kind of, put it this way. If you're not tracking your trades and you lose and you win and you lose and you win, and you win, it's very difficult to get an objective overview on how well your losses are performing versus how well your winning is performing. You can think about it and you can think, right, I've done more than I've won. But the exact kind of metric behind how much you're losing and how much you're winning is not apparent sometimes when you're mentally doing it, right? Do you understand? So once you have it in front of you, say you go on a losing streak, right? Say you go on a losing streak. This is the real point. And you have 3 or 4 losses back to back. If you have everything logged in a perfect system, you can go and you can look at it and you can say, right, this is what's happened, this is what I've lost. And the emotional drawdown is less because you have a mental boundary in place of going towards somewhere where you can objectively chop up what's going on, right? Produce clarity, right? This is about clarity. It's not about anything else. It's about the feeling of clarity. Because the feeling of clarity is in itself a remedy against emotional drawdown, right? So once you have an emotional drawdown, you don't feel clear. That's the whole point. If someone was to give you a potion when you were emotional or had an emotional drawdown, or for example, if you were in a loss streak and you were feeling shit and you can't think properly, if someone gave you a potion and said, listen, drink this and it's going to make you feel clear about the situation, you drink it, right? So it's very important to be clear about the situation from an objective standpoint so that you do not over amplify the seriousness of a situation or under amplify the seriousness of a situation. So if you lose 1 trade, 2 trades, you look back at a record and think, right, I've won the last 20 trades. Okay, fair enough. These 2 trades are whatever, right? And you look back at your sheet and you've been trading well and everything. Do you feel what I'm saying? So you don't over amplify the current loss. Next, you can track your progress. Perspective is very important in remedying both euphoria and greed. So it's very similar, is what I said, okay? It's marginally the same point. Perspective is very important in remedying both greed and euphoria, right? It's just very important. That's exactly what I said. If you have a bird's eye view of the whole situation, it's very easy to identify and stay kind of like away from and detached from the situation, right? You're just dealing with numbers on a sheet. Number 5. Okay, same thing. This is actually all the same point. Keeps perspective of both wins and losses, right? Same thing. Number 3, 4, and 5, they overlap. Number 6, truthful reflections about your actions. I've been through this also. Right? If you are messing up, you need to see you are messing up, right? The mind will protect you from self-pain or self-truth, actually, right? People don't realize how much issue they have with being honest with themselves, right? It can be just in general, or it can be to other people, right? You can't hide from the reflection of having something on a piece of paper. Number 7, by proxy, okay, by proxy, having to type out your setup makes you think more about them. Huge point, massive point. You don't only learn from running the setup itself, but you also learn from reviewing it. And when I say reviewing it, I mean taking the physical act and typing, right? The most boring thing this is this trade metric and this trade metric and this. There is something that unfolds when you kind of write something down, right? That's really the thing. When you write something down, a new form of clarity arises. And it's not just in trading. It's not just in trading. Guys, if you do this with a journal in the morning when you wake up and you say your feelings for the day, or in the evening you say, oh, I don't feel too good today and this is why, or you ask a question on a piece of paper. The word is powerful, right? And it returns much more than the thought does at times. Number 9, if you're using the system, hold on one sec, improves holding power, right? I think this is the next one I wanted to say. Improves holding power. Added benefits of feeling certain. Okay? Another instrumental point in improving your trading. And then again, guys, let's just root this whole scenario in something. It's to improve your trading. It's not to do anything else. This results in, for most people, less losses, better trading ability, and more money over time, right? Improving holding power, added benefits of feeling certain. So, if you can see a setup, you can see its stop loss, and you can see its exit. Say the trade comes close to your stop loss. Because you know about the amount you're going to lose on this trade, because you're certain about the amount you're going to win on this trade, because you've done work on logging this trade, and because it's all in front of you and very clear, it actually makes the acceptance of losing the setup easier. Why? Because if you have, 10, you have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. The ones are wins, right? 1, 1, 1, and you have 0, 1, 1, right? Say you're in a setup X that you don't know what's going to happen right now. Setup X, it comes close to your stop. You don't know which way it's going to go. Well, then you look back at all your previous trades and you say, right, well, not only can I afford to lose this setup, but it's all very clear for me and I know how much I'm going to lose. Do you understand? This improves your holding power, and it can also improve setup probability for you, because it's usually when you feel like, oh, it's getting close to my stop, I want to sell out. This is the time you usually get shaken out of a trade, and you've witnessed me do it a few times. Okay, nothing I say here I'm not subject to, guys. Right? I'm not perfect in any shape or form, but the reason why I can speak about this so clearly is because I experience it and I'm moving through it. Right. So number 10 or number 9, if you are using the system I've given, it standardizes your losses. Okay, so this system was based on Van Tharp's R multiples, right? You know, there's R meme that's going around on Twitter, risk to reward or whatever. The system that I have made, both in our trades that we log for the Discord and just the general trade sheet that I gave out, right? The metrics are here for you guys. I have your account, you have your setup risk, the amount you're risking per trade on your account. Everything is here, right? Everything is here. And the R, the final R, and the conceptual risk to reward, everything is there. You don't even have to look at dollars sometimes, right? This might confuse you a bit if you don't deal with this. And I implore you to go and watch the video on me explaining everything, right? But the main thing I want to say is that you want to try and detach yourself from the urgency to get profit, and you want to attach yourself into the process of making profit. Does that make sense? So the process-orientated mind is the mind that wins. It's the mind full of desire that does not, right? So process orientation. over money orientation. What process orientation means over money orientation in a trading aspect is that if we are to stay true to the subject, it means that this is all a meme, right? This is just numbers on a screen, and you just run the money and you just do it and you just play, right? You don't want to get too involved in what you are doing. On the one hand, this may seem boring to people, but on the other hand, if it's just a number, and I mean just a number, right? For example, if this is just a number here, if this is just a number, if you play through R and risk reward rather than how much am I going to win, how much am I going to lose, and you focus on growing your account through a risk reward perspective, then it can be very, very, very helpful, both in holding power and reducing emotional drawdown, which is where I'm going to end this before I open up the second part of our live stream, right? Reduces emotional drawdown. So I'm going to be so serious here, guys. Look, you all know that trading is about TA, okay? It's about whatever, about execution, and it's about psychology, and it's about sentiment and whatever. But let's just say trading is about two things: action, or let's say three things: action, risk management, and psychology, right? Now, psychology isn't the only thing behind trading, but listen, the main problems that traders have, even when they can predict the movements in the market, is the emotional drawdown problem. The task for the trader is to reduce this emotional drawdown. It's why Mike Bellafiore, and I can pronounce his name properly finally, it's why he talks about growth mind state, right? And I hope if he ever watches this, he says that this is according to how he portrays this phrase, growth mind state, right? Because the real issue is when you're either learning or when you're at the cusp of progress, growth mind state is the only thing that keeps you alive. And we're doing a bit of a U-turn here, but you need to have emotional capital in order to deal with emotional drawdowns, because you have emotional drawdowns and you have monetary drawdowns. And what you'll find is monetary drawdowns most commonly come straight after emotional drawdowns, not the other way round, okay? So it's about protecting this, right? This whole thing is to solidify your emotions into a frame or a phrase. Do you understand? I can't describe it any more clearly than that, That's the reason why logging is good. And of course, you can make your setups and then look at your setups that you have done well, right? And the setups you have done well, you just look at them and you'd be like, yo, I've done well on that setup. I've done very well. Why did I do well? Do you know what I mean, right? It's so important and so useful to do this. So useful. And the platitude and the issues about, it's boring and long, well, that's a gate you're going to have to cross if you want to get into a land with better grass, right? That's a metaphor that's very clear, almost cliche, but so it works, right? So that's these 9 issues don't exactly 100x you, right? But they dramatically improve trading. Perfect.